Okay, so boom! The scene kicks off with Deidara flying over the sand village on this giant clay bird. As he looks over the entire village with the light of the sun illuminating the terrain, this man wastes no time getting into his sophisticated artist bag talking about something.
I can't help but appreciate the architecture of this village. It's so artistic.
Oh my god. This man just be chatting. He swears he's Vincent van Gogh. Deidara's definitely the type to go see those abstract paintings at a museum and say, "Oh yes, this is true beauty. I see balance between good and evil, sadness and happiness blended into one." Whole time, the man's looking at a QR code. The camera then pans to Gaara chilling in his office doing absolutely nothing. Desk clear as hell, not a notebook open. Tsunade, you wish that was you, huh? He looks out the window and you can tell by his face that he knows something is off. Eventually, the sun goes down, so Deidara knows it's time to get things on and popping. So he releases 3 of his clay spiders and they immediately start climbing on the 3 sand ninja lookouts. I know y'all see how big that spider is. How did he not feel that? Nah, that couldn't have been me. I do not play about bugs. As soon as I feel it move, I'm dropping straight on my back. The spiders then proceed to jump on their faces while Deidara watches them from above. These sand shinobis are fighting for their life right now, and this man up there talking about, "These fools don't appreciate art. You gotta feel it." No diddy. And if that wasn't bad enough, this man hits us with the classic true art is an explosion and blows their faces off. Now normally, if I seen a villain do some sadistic junk like this, I would be in shock. But I cannot lie, Deidara is my guy. Something about his fight style just got me hooked every time he pops up on the screen. It's probably cause he's just like me for real. Who doesn't like explosions? I remember when I was younger, I used to take hours upon hours to build houses in Minecraft just to blow that junk up with TNT. Looking back on it, I can now say I might have been an odd child. After Deidara knocks these 3 guards off the map, he dismounts his clay bird and gets ready to start wreaking havoc. But as soon as he looks up, he sees that Gaara is standing right in front of him with this "not on my watch" ass pose. Gaara stares him down and with his dehydrated vocal cords, he says, "That's as far as you go." But Deidara responds in the most weird, zesty way possible. What was that? Did this man just get bricked from his presence? Oh nah, use a freaky ass. Deidara's ready to get busy, so he jumps in the air and hops on his clay bird to take this fight to the sky, so Gaara follows him. While Deidara over there twisting and turning through the sky, Gaara's camping ass is still in the same exact spot, except my man is hitting these sorry possessed dance moves to control the sand. Nigga hit the "come here." Never mind. He wanna be a contemporary dancer so bad. Gaara finally hops in the air to get busy, so to kick things off, Gaara lifts up a bunch of sand and sends it straight towards Deidara. Then he tries to grab him with Shikaku's hand, but of course, he misses. Deidara's clay is finally ready, so he releases them and sends them straight towards Gaara. Now, Deidara's hands have been chewing on that clay since he first jumped in the air, so my expectations for this move were pretty big. So when I seen those birds hit Gaara's sand and cause those baby dookie explosions, the smile on my face immediately faded. But what made it worse was the fact that after the baby explosions occurred, he has the audacity to say, "I think I'm getting the hang of this." What are you talking about? You don't see how Gaara and his emo eyeshadow eyes didn't even blink once? Man, don't piss me off because I'm about to kick you out the kitchen. You are not cooking right now. Deidara doesn't deviate from his plan though and continues to cook up another batch of clay bird explosives, except these ones are a little different. He sends them straight towards Gaara, but Gaara uses his sand to block it. We've seen this before. It's light work for Gaara. But as soon as Deidara lets that bomb go off, we see a much bigger explosion and what looks like to be blood in the mix. Okay, Deidara, see, now we're talking. He done added a little bit more seasoning to the recipe. As the explosion goes off, we see a bunch of sand ninjas just watching from below, being useless as hell. Y'all got nothing better to do? Go evacuate the village or something. Y'all see this man letting these explosives go like it's nothing. Those are not fireworks. Go ask these 3. Even Gaara's right-hand man is being useless. When he seen the explosion, he was over there talking about some Gaara. Nigga, he can't hear you. Go help. The next thing we see is Deidara up in the sky staring at the giant sandball. Turns out, Gaara was able to shield himself from the blow just in time. Deidara must not peep the giant eye in the sky watching him though, because Gaara wastes no time and hits Deidara and his bird with that sand prison jutsu. Deidara tries to escape before it fully closes, but Gaara's sand is just too quick. All the sand bums are still watching from below and they're all geeked as hell. Konkoro tells them that it's over and they immediately let out a sigh of relief. Leave it to the Kage. As long as we have Lord Kage, the Sand Village will be fine.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, how the tables have turned. You honestly love to see. They talking about the same man that everybody used to be afraid of. A man that was only seen as a weapon. Now they calling him a hero. That is beautiful. Now that I'm thinking about it, they should be very thankful that Gaara's character wasn't based off of me, cause I hold grudges. Yeah, I remember those tears. You think I forgot y'all used to call me dirty doodoo demon boy? Nah, I would have let Deidara burn that whole village down. Shit, I would have helped him. This feeling of safety is short-lived because Deidara wastes no time bursting through that sand prison. But as he plummets to the ground, Gaara grabs him by his leg and throws him right back in the direction of the sand prison. Right before it can swallow him up, Deidara whips out a giant clay owl and flies away in another direction. Now they're back to playing the petty cat and mouse game where Deidara flies around while being chased by Gaara's sand. Kankuro's down there still doing tricks on it, talking about some there isn't a man alive that can escape Gaara's sand. Like, damn bro, is dick riding all you do? Now there's an even bigger crowd of sand shinobi watching Deidara and Gaara go at it. They look extremely concerned except for this one. He actually looks a little too happy. Matter of fact, somebody drug test him after this. That boy's on something. Deidara's still up there trying to evade the sand until eventually Gaara gets a hold of his arm. Deidara tries to counter by sending a giant clay scorpion crawling down the sand. He blows it up in hopes of breaking free from the sand, but like majority of these explosives so far, that junk did not work. So Gaara reaches out his hand, then hits him with that deadly sand coffin. And the next thing we see is Deidara's whole hand turned into a smoothie. Seeing this jutsu actually do damage really puts it into perspective how crazy young Gaara was. This nigga had the same exact sand coffin booted up for Rock Lee in an exam when he was already tapped out. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Gaara should not have even made it this far. They should have put him down immediately after that. After losing his arm, Deidara's up there chuckling and laughing, talking about some he's good alright. But it's like, brother, are you good? This man Gaara not only took your arm, but he basically cut your ability to make clay by 50%. How are you not in tears right now? Unless you got another one of them freaky mouths hidden somewhere that we don't know about. But honestly, I'm not even trying to find out where it is. Now Deidara up there flying around handicapped, doing some deep thinking and calculations. He eventually comes to the realization that the sand Gaara keeps on his back is much faster and infused with a lot of chakra. He then says that the sand that's attacking him right now must be the missing piece to the sand sphere that Gaara's in. Now call me slow, but after he says all this stuff, I'm here with the straightest face ever, not impressed in the slightest. So what, you know how the sand works now? Okay. How is this gonna help you win? You're down 3-1 right now. Deidara, with a little bit of clay left, knows he's gotta make something shake. So he reaches his hand in his pouch to get some more clay. But before I reveal what he was cooking, I gotta get on the cameraman, because what the hell am I looking at? Brother, oh, not one person asked for the angle of his freaky ass hand going to work. Get this junk off my screen. Deidara reveals that he only has enough clay for one more attack, so I know he's gonna make it count. At this point, the whole village is outside to watch this fight, and I can't even blame them. All these loud ass explosions sounding off. Who's sleeping through that? Hell, I would have been outside too and single-handedly stopped that fight. All this ruckus, I got work in the morning. Gaara tries to hit Deidara with his sand, but he weaves it with ease. He tries a couple more times, but all his attempts are unsuccessful. One of the Sand Village shinobis realized that Gaara's resorted to his last line of defense and mentions that he's scared that Shikaku might take over. But Kankuro tries to reassure him by saying, I know Gaara. He would never harm the people of this village. Not ever. Well, first of all, Cap, and second of all, you know Gaara. Do you know Shikaku? No. These side characters swear they know the ins and outs of the protagonist. Sakura said the same thing before Naruto lost control of the Nine Tails against Orochimaru. Naruto would never hurt me. Oh really? That's why he smacked the taste out your mouth with no hesitation. But he sent you flying 10 feet in the air. I don't know what clicked in their heads, but the Sand Shinobi finally start being of use because they begin to gear up and give Gaara some backup. But honestly, this is just too little too late because Deidara takes out his clay bomb and drops this Like I couldn't even tell you what I'm looking at. Is that a bird? Is that a Yeti with wings? I don't know. Nonetheless, he drops it directly on the village, and this is the first time we see Gaara start to sweat. Look at him. He knows he's cooked. Deidara puts his hand up to let that thing go, and I kid you not, this might have been one of the biggest, loudest explosions I've ever seen in Naruto. That junk was so violent, my room started shaking. After all the smoke cleared, I was expecting to see the body parts of all the Sand Village natives scattered around like sprinkles. But Gaara somehow managed to shield the village with his sand. Now to the average eye, this is a huge W for Gaara. But that was exactly what Deidara wanted, because the cameraman pans up and we see Deidara smiling with that ugly swoop band covering his face. He lifts his 2 fingers, looking like he's ready to let another bomb go off, and says,
"Now you're within range."
And it was with that line that I knew Deidara called game. This man, Deidara, blew that man's face clean off. Had me thinking Gaara was gonna come out looking like Freddy Krueger. We then see the Sand Ninjas piping up, ready to attack, talking about some, "Very well, you'll launch the assault on my signal."
Negro, please.
Brother, it's too late. You should have done this 20 minutes ago. Besides, what do you think these arrows are going to do? Put it down. You're wasting your time. The camera pans back up, and to my surprise, I was wrong. Gaara somehow managed to get his defense up in time. Now, I would have been more happy for him, but I knew something was off when Deidara didn't look phased at all. Gaara's still in that ball, breathing hard as hell, when all of a sudden, he noticed little sand pebbles start to fall. Little by little, more pebbles start to trickle until eventually we see a bunch of little clay spiders start to emerge. And that's when Deidara reveals his whole plan. This man said that when Gaara took his left hand, he used the opportunity to eat the sand and mix some of his detonating clay in with it. This gotta be one of the biggest big brain plays I've ever witnessed. He was really playing chess whole time Gaara was playing checkers. I thought him losing his hand was crazy, but I guess if you want the W that bad, you sometimes gotta give up your queen to get the king in checkmate. Deidara lifts his fingers for the last time and hits us with the iconic line, "True art is an explosion!" Then we see Gaara's ball bubble up like my stomach does after eating Taco Bell, and eventually it begins to fall apart. Deidara goes to retrieve Gaara, but before he gets to him, we see that Gaara is attempting to use the last bit of strength he has to move the sand tainted with explosives outside the village. The Sand Shinobi see how hard Gaara's fighting for them, so they start attacking Deidara with their arrows. But with the utmost grace, Deidara weaves every single useless arrow that was shot at him. No, it's actually making me mad now. If I was Gaara, I would have dropped that sand right on them after seeing that shooting performance. How you go 0 for 70? Bro, pack it up. New careers, all of you. Gaara eventually manages to get the sand away from the village, but then he completely shuts down after that. And that is when Deidara swoops in to catch him and takes his prize. This just might be in my top 5 favorite IQ/long range attacks only type fights. Deidara really cooked up one of the most beautiful tactical plans in Akatsuki history. We gotta clap it up for him. Matter of fact, clapping is not even enough. Someone in the Akatsuki better give this man the God 3000. I don't care. What? Hey, Orochimaru, I know you're down. I know you're down.
I don't really wanna know. Shorty telling me her name. I don't really wanna know. Had to wake up, go to work. I ain't really wanna go. God be with me on my side. He be with me on the low.